Hello, my name is Scuria-Herman, and today I'll be speaking on the topic of elevator etiquette. Now, I know probably no one is going to want to hear about this, but it's been on my mind, and it's on my list, which is upside down. This one's going to be off the cuff, but I've been thinking about this for a while, as I just said. This is not an attack on the youth of today, mostly because I often find myself being the youngest person in the room at any given time, so I think it's impossible to punch down in that matter. But elevator etiquette is dead. Is it something that we ever really needed? Is it something that was ever really necessary to the continuation of our species? Probably not. In a few years, I bet that there's going to be a different transportation method inside buildings that will supersede elevators, and it will become archaic eventually. That's besides the point. My point is, because of the advent of other technologies, people are less and less respectful on the elevator, and I've noticed this. How does that take place? Well, right now I would say that I'm in a place where a disproportionate number of youth are gathered. How does this take place in terms of the elevator? Well, when you're trying to get off the elevator, people outside the elevator immediately try to get on as you're trying to get off. When I was growing up, that would never happen. You were taught you had to stay aside, you had to wait for someone to come out, and then you go inside. That's not a thing anymore. At least for the youth of today. That's really just not a thing anymore. They will crowd the elevator, they will not let you out. And that's just how it works now. Is it a bad thing? Kinda, yeah, definitely. Is it something that could be avoided? Probably, but that's just how it is right now. And it's interesting because, I don't know why it's interesting. I just find it interesting because it's such a stark difference from how I grew up to what takes place here today. And it's definitely not something that has been replaced with anything more effectual than it. Like, there's no better system for the elevator that there is in place now that will be better for this situation. In fact, on move-out day, they assign a security guard to man the elevators and make sure people go in at one at a time, because the children can't be trusted. That's how bad it gets. Here's another thing. When I grew up, you would go in the elevator and you would talk to people. You would be able to have a conversation with people. This is probably one of my older baby boomer takes. I don't really think it is, and I don't really think that it's necessarily something that's necessary, but today every single person on the elevator will be on their phones. I notice this when they're waiting for the elevator, they'll have their phone. When they're inside the elevator, every single person, I'll look around, all of them will be on their phones, and none of them are waiting for their floor, none of them are looking around. They are all just zeroed in on their phone, not focusing on anything else. I find that very interesting, because elevators, not only are they a short ride, but they're also unable to access the internet. It's a dead well of Wi-Fi. Anytime I would go on it, my phone would disconnect from the Wi-Fi and would be in a dead zone. So then why are all these people going on their phones? It's because they purposefully don't want to interact with anybody. Everybody knows that their phones don't work on the elevator, but they are actively avoiding contact with other people. That's what's leading to this lack of elevator etiquette, is the fact that people are so ostracized, self-ostracized even, that they don't have a connection with anybody else, that they don't have any sort of understanding of other people in the elevator, that they don't wait for other people to get off. It all contributes to the same thing. Elevator etiquette is dead because consideration of other people is a dying art form. A lot of people, I'm not going to name names, but a lot of people would say that empathy is a newer thing, and empathy is a sign of youth and naivete. I would argue that empathy has little to do with naivete. It would instead have to do with a more sense of wisdom because it takes a lot of strength to be empathetic. And I'm not saying I'm strong, because I wouldn't necessarily consider myself the most empathetic person in the world, but it takes a lot of strength to do. And someone who is unwilling to reach out in that manner is unable to be empathetic, is unable to recognize that other people are on the elevator. It's unable to recognize that people need to be let off first. It's unable to recognize that, like, oh wait, I could just be in the moment instead of being on my phone for the 5 seconds, even though it doesn't work, just so I can avoid and have a reason to avoid other people on the elevator. When I went to college, like initially, I'm obviously still here, the common thing that was told to me, because I didn't have friends growing up, but the common thing was like, oh, just talk to people on the elevator. That's just not a thing. That's not a thing anymore. People don't want to be talked to on the elevator. Everyone here decided who their friends were on orientation, and they have not really expanded their horizons since. That's the thing. People find their people and then shut everybody else off. I don't know necessarily if that's a bad thing. I guess it's a bad thing for me because I just can't be friends with anybody, but it's just interesting. It's food for thought. I think it's interesting to just think about the difference in how people act in the modern age, I guess. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about elevator etiquette. That's been on my mind for a while. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else, but I'm pretty sure that's it. I've had to cut out several sneezes in this video. I'm about to sneeze again, but before I do, I'll have to say that that's going to be all from me. So until next time, adieu.